The story of Saint Peter of Alcantara.
Subscribe to our channel to receive more content like this.
In the small Spanish town of Alcantara, around the year 1499, a boy named Peter was born into a world of faith and simplicity. From the very start, it was clear that Peter was no ordinary child. While other children played in the streets, Peter would often slip away to pray in silence. He seemed to have an unshakable peace about him, a quiet fire that burned within. His parents noticed how often he gazed at the sky, as if already searching for something beyond the earth. As he grew older, that yearning only deepened. He spent hours lost in prayer, sometimes so deeply that those around him couldn't get his attention, no matter how hard they tried. By the age of 16, Peter's heart was set. He left his family home and entered the Franciscan Order near Valencia, choosing a life of poverty, prayer, and service. It was a decision that would shape not just his own soul, but the lives of countless others who would come to follow his example. Peter's early years in the monastery were filled with zeal. His deep love for prayer and simplicity impressed his fellow friars, and his wisdom earned him positions of leadership. Before long, he became a guardian, then a superior, overseeing the province of St. Gabriel. Yet, even as he rose in rank, Peter saw something that troubled him. The Franciscan Order, once known for its pure devotion and humility, had grown comfortable and worldly. The simplicity that St. Francis of Assisi had lived by seemed to be fading. Peter could not stay silent. He believed God was calling him to bring renewal, to remind his brothers of their original vow, to live as Christ lived, poor, humble, and full of love. In 1539, at the age of 40, he founded a new branch of the Franciscans called the Congregation of St. Joseph of the Strict Observance. His goal was to return to the roots of their faith, to live simply, pray deeply, and depend completely on God's providence. Life in Peter's communities was not easy. The friars slept little, owned almost nothing, and faced the harshness of the elements without complaint. They prayed constantly and served with joy. Though many found Peter's rules too harsh at first, his sincerity softened hearts. His words carried a quiet power, and his example inspired even the most reluctant to follow. Among those most deeply influenced by Peter's holiness was another great reformer, Saint Teresa of Avila. When Peter met Teresa, she was struggling to reform the Carmelite order, facing opposition and doubt from within and outside her community. Peter became her spiritual guide, a friend who encouraged her to stay faithful to the vision God had given her. Teresa later described him with awe, saying he seemed more like an angel than a man. His presence radiated peace, and his words were filled with wisdom. When Teresa faced resistance, Peter reminded her that true reform always begins with prayer and humility. Together, their friendship became a symbol of spiritual collaboration, two humble servants of God working for renewal in an age that desperately needed it. As Peter's reputation grew, so did stories of his holiness. People came to him seeking healing, advice, and prayers. And time and again, miracles seemed to follow him. One story tells of a man paralyzed for years who regained movement after Peter prayed over him. Another tells of how Peter and his companions, traveling through the countryside, came to a river they could not cross. Without fear, Peter knelt and prayed. Moments later, the waters lowered, and they crossed safely. Those who witnessed it were left speechless, convinced they had seen the hand of God at work. Even nature seemed to obey him. Shepherds claimed to have seen him lifted off the ground while in deep prayer, his body rising among the trees as if heaven itself was drawing him upward. He did not seek attention or praise. He simply prayed with such intensity that the world around him seemed to fade away. To those who knew him, these miracles were not signs of power, but signs of perfect faith. A man completely united with God's will. Peter's daily life was marked by astonishing self-discipline. He fasted constantly, often surviving only on bread and water. He wore rough sackcloth as clothing, walked barefoot even in winter, and slept barely more than an hour and a half each night, while standing upright, held by a wooden harness. For 40 years, he kept to this harsh routine, believing that denying himself comfort allowed him to draw nearer to Christ's suffering. Yet, despite his strict life, Peter was known for his joy. His eyes sparkled with kindness, and his smile calmed those around him. He never scolded or judged, even when correcting others. Instead, he led by quiet example, showing that true holiness is not found in pride, but in love. Wherever he went, he planted crosses, on mountain peaks and valleys, and by roadsides, as symbols of his devotion to the passion of Christ. He often carried these heavy wooden crosses himself, climbing mountains barefoot to set them in place. There, he would spend hours in silent prayer, sometimes preaching to those who passed by. His deep love for Christ's suffering became the heart of his message, that through humility and sacrifice, the soul becomes free. Even in old age, Peter refused to travel by horse or carriage, choosing instead to walk wherever he went. His frail body seemed sustained by faith alone. In 1562, at the age of 63, his strength finally began to fade. Still, he faced death as he had lived, peacefully and prayerfully. On October 18, he knelt in his cell, whispered the words of the psalmist, "I rejoiced when it was said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord," and quietly surrendered his soul to God. After his death, many reported miracles through his intercession, and his reputation as a saint spread quickly. In 1669, he was canonized by Pope Clement IX, his life celebrated as a model of prayer, humility, and reform. The story of St. Peter of Alcantara speaks powerfully to our modern world. In an age of comfort, distraction, and excess, Peter reminds us that peace and strength come not from possessions, but from simplicity and prayer. His life teaches us that reform, whether in our hearts or our communities, begins with humility and courage. Peter did not seek fame or recognition. He sought only to love God completely and to live that love in every moment. His friendship with Saint Teresa of Avila shows the beauty of spiritual friendship, how two hearts united in faith can inspire generations to come. Today, his message still rings true. We may not live in monasteries or fast on bread and water, but we can follow his example by embracing simplicity, finding joy in small sacrifices, and trusting that prayer has the power to move mountains, sometimes even to lower rivers. St. Peter of Alcantara's life reminds us that holiness is not out of reach. It begins with one humble heart turned toward God, ready to say, "Here I am. Use me."